It occurred to us when we read the warrantless affidavit, the arrest affidavit, that Chris Watts' version of what happened according to the police, his confession according to the police, had him going downstairs for a moment after having a conversation about splitting up with Shanann somewhere around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Coming back upstairs, seeing on the baby monitor that one of his daughters is dead and the other one is actively being strangled. Please sort of lay out for me what his Apple Watch would have been telling us if he were actually wearing it at that time.
Well, from that description, probably not a whole lot. The Apple Watch will record step activity going upstairs. It will record the time that you did that. So if he was running up and down the stairs frequently, that would really show up. If he went up and down the stairs one time, it may show that one time to go up and down the stairs.
But it's pretty significant that your Apple Watch doesn't just show how many steps you take throughout the day. It tells you if you're stepping up and down staircases. And if his story is true, his Apple Watch would have to say he went up and down those staircases at the time he said that he went up and down the staircase, correct?
Correct. In theory, if he had his watch on, if it was attached correctly and all that, it should show at least one flight of stairs.
Okay, and the little number up in the top right-hand side that says 9:49 on our example right there, that's the time of day, correct?
Correct.
Does that all lodge into the cloud and is saved for posterity for us all to analyze our fitness activity for the last couple of weeks or months?
Your fitness activity in the health app on your iPhone is recorded, and I believe that data is saved in the cloud under your own account.
So that's pretty fascinating. If the prosecutors felt like it, they could assess all of the cloud-based information about Chris Watts' heart rate, his activity level, the staircases he did or didn't climb at the times he said he did. They could see all of this data because of the little spy hanging out on his wrist, if he was wearing it at the time.
Correct.
All right, so Marcel, that's the Chris Watts story and how it may have been logged by his watch. We also know that Shanann had this watch. And in fact, we know specifically that she had the Series 3. The Series 3 Apple Watch is specific because of that little red dot on the crown, right? On that image
Correct.
That we're showing?
Right. The cellular version has the red dot.
Okay, and on the picture that you see on your screen, you can see she's wearing that sticker. She's got the Lavelle patch on her hand, and right below that is the Series 3 watch with that red crown, correct?
Correct.
So this is the fanciest data collector of the series, right, of the Apple Watch variety. Could you tell me what it would tell? Listen, the story that Chris tells us, and Nicole Atkinson confirms that Shanann came home from her work trip at about 2 o'clock in the morning. She takes her shoes off at the door. She leaves her suitcase at the base of the staircase. And if she's got that watch on, she climbs a set of stairs. What else will that Apple Watch tell us about the story that Chris tells us? That they were awakened at about 4 or 5 in the morning, had a conversation, and she went and killed the kids.
Well, the Apple Watch, to set the stage first, the Apple Watch is very accurate when you have it in exercise mode. So it can track your exact location, where you go on a run, your exact heart rate continuously, all that sort of thing. If the Apple Watch is not in exercise mode, it periodically scans your heart rate, your activity level, that sort of thing. So if you become more active, it starts to become more, it monitors it more. So in theory, if she suddenly had elevated heart rate, if her emotions become more manic, whether she's either attacking someone or being attacked, that type of data could be logged. So in theory, it could show steps, it could show elevated heart rate, increased activity, all of that.
And so what you would have to assess if you're just looking at bare numbers that, again, are logged in the cloud, and they're on the watch, too, because the Series 3 keeps this data on the watch for about 30 days. Now, we are outside of the 30-day window, so I sure hope that the prosecutors and the detectives in this case, you know, mined every piece of electronic information that these pieces of equipment would have yielded prior to the 30-day expiration. But I do understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marcel, that even after the 30 days, if your watch is in proximity with your phone, and we have no reason to believe that Shanann was anywhere farther from her phone than a room or two, right? She's in her house, apparently, when all these killings happen. So the phone would have pulled that information off her watch as she's having something done to her or is doing something to someone, and would have thrown it up into the cloud for posterity, correct?
Correct. The watch, as long as it's on the same Wi-Fi network, should transmit that data to the phone.
Okay, so a couple of other questions about Shanann's activity. An activity level really shows your heart rate, right?
It shows motion and heart rate.
Okay, motion and heart rate. Let me just spitball for a second here. If Shanann was strangled in her bed and awoke to a strangling, what would this watch, if she's wearing it, what would this watch tell us?
Well, in theory, it could show elevated heart rate. It could possibly, if there was a struggle, maybe show that there was some activity, some motion going on. That could be about it. It doesn't record your breath or anything like that.